Hey guys, Tonight Marine here, back again with another MOS profiles. Today I'm going to be doing 0811, which is what I did, so I would like to think I'm relatively knowledgeable about it. I'm going to do the other artillery roles as well in future videos. The FDC and stuff, which is really the only other arty role that you can have. And the FDC, just so you know, is they're the ones that calculate all like the fire directions. They basically tell us where to point the howitzers so that we can kill the enemy. And with that, there's a lot of math involved. There's a lot of a lot of fucking brain power that goes into figuring this stuff out. Because literally, if you shoot far enough, literally the curve of the Earth comes into effect. Wind, trying to guesstimate the wind, fucking 20 miles away comes into effect. All sorts of stuff. There's a lot to it. But I'll talk about that in a future video. So, 0811s, you will go to boot camp, obviously. Once you graduate there, you will go to MCT, which is Marine Combat Training, which is basically a pussified version of what the grunts go through. We do it, I believe it's about a month long. At least when I was there, it was about a month long. And you do just some basic grunt stuff. You'll throw a grenade. I believe. I threw a grenade. I don't know if you guys will. I've heard they're making changes to it, so I'm not really sure. But either way, you'll learn basic infantry tactics. You'll get a bit more familiar with your weapon. You will do a bunch of hikes, or humps rather, not really a hike. I tend to think of a hike as a fun and enjoyable experience, and humps are not. But for the humps, you won't be carrying the crew serves like the grunts do. They carry their 50 cals, they carry the 240s, the tripods for all those. The mortarmen got their base plates, and then the other mortarmen will carry the tubes. You won't have to deal with any of that shit. You're going to deal with your pack, generally your flak jacket and Kevlar, and then your rifle, which sucks. That shit's heavy. But be glad that you're not going to fucking carry all the extra shit the grunts carry. Because that stuff is heavy. So once you do that, you're going to be sent to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is a fucking shitty little base out in the middle of bumfuck Oklahoma. And apparently Oklahoma is actually really nice, but where Fort Sill is, it's really not. But that's kind of beside the point. And from there, once you get there, is when you start to learn about howitzers, how they work, what they do. I don't believe you guys work with the M19 or 8 anymore, which is what I was mainly trained on. And that's the old school howitzer that we used. The thing was fucking a beast. It was 16,000 pounds versus the M19 or 8 now, which is about 10,000, which is still heavy, don't get me wrong, but the extra 6,000 is very noticeable. Everything on that 19 or 8 was fucking heavy. It's all fucking steel. Like the spades, which the spades on the howitzer are like, they're what you dig into the ground. It's like you'll dig a hole and the spades go into the hole, and that's used, and then you basically will fill in the hole if there's any gaps. And when the howitzer shoots, the spades will slam into the dirt and prevent the howitzer itself from moving back. That's the goal anyway. So what you'll be working on is the M777. It's the new and improved. It's got a lot of it makes it firing a lot quicker. Just the way the howitzer works, or how you aim it. I won't get into that a whole ton, but just know it's much quicker than the M19 or 8. For that quickness, though, you in our experience, you sacrifice durability. Being so light, it's not necessarily made of weaker stuff, but there's a lot of like hydraulic cables and just a lot more shit that can go wrong with it. The M19 or 8 was fucking about as simple as it gets. You have the trail arms, which are the fucking long arms that you see sticking off it. Just Google M19 or 8 and you'll see what I'm talking about. They have the trail arms. At the ends of the trail arms, they have the spades, which go into the ground. And then you have the tube of the howitzer, and you have the breech, which you open up to put the round in. You close the breech, and you fucking fire it. Very, very, very simple. But the M777 has fucking all these hydraulic cables. It's got everything on its hydraulic. The majority of the stuff works. If the hydraulics break, you can make it work, but you fucking slow way down. You'd be lucky to get around 1 round out a minute if all the hydraulics go out on that thing. But it does work. It just fucking sucks ass. And we've had to do it. I've had to fire it with the hydraulics fucking gone. But it's certainly not ideal. What am I thinking here? So when you get to Fort Sill, you will begin to learn about that. They teach you learn a lot when you're there. They teach you all the parts of the howitzer, which you have to know. They teach you all the charges that you're going to be using, which I think they've actually made the charges a lot simpler. Which if they have, good for you. I'll have to ask somebody to find out 100% sure, because I really don't remember now. But the last I heard, they're making the charges much simpler. Which is good, because it can be confusing when you're first trying to learn it about what charge can go with what round, because some rounds we're not allowed to have the highest charges with them, and some rounds we're not allowed to have the lowest charges with them. So you just have to be careful with that. But now I believe they've simplified all that shit. But you still have the round and fuse combinations, which are very, 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 very important, because if you put the wrong fucking fuse on the howitzer, or not on the howitzer, but on the round, and you fire it, it can either A, hurt you very badly, it can probably kill people on your gun, or it can kill people downrange. Because, so for instance, let's see, if you put if they want a fucking PD fuse, which is point detonating, which means that once the round fucking hits something, the round goes off. Which basically you're going to put that, if you know there's enemy dug in, you're going to fucking send this round right on top of them. It's going to land hopefully near them and then fucking explode and hopefully kill all the bad guys. But if you end up putting a fucking time fuse on it, a VT, which is called, VT stands for variable time, if you put that shit on it for some god-awful fucking reason, and you've got some sort of weird time set in it, that round could very possibly go off over your enemy. And what that does is you set a time on it. So say you set 30 seconds, which a round can travel very, very far in 30 seconds. If you, literally miles, if you, say, put a 30-second fuse on it, and that thing fucking shoots, once it leaves the tube, it starts counting down. And if you put that on instead of the PD, and that timer hits 0, that round could be above your fellow Marines that are downrange. And basically, once the timer goes off on that round, or on the fuse, it makes the round explode. And so if that round explodes over your fellow Marines, it's going to kill them. The amount of shrapnel and fucking pure death in an HE round is unbelievable. And if that explodes over your fellow Marines, they're dead. I mean, there's no way around it. And so they teach you all that stuff so that you know how to do it. Your section chief, you're not going to you need to know it, but in the end, it's your section chief to catch all that shit. But hopefully, you don't fuck that up, because they will harass the living shit out of you if you try to put a VT round on a PD mission. They will. But they teach you all that stuff. They teach you all the little weird nomenclatures, so the M fucking whatever for this, the M whatever for that, which is the model number for each individual little thing. They will take you out and let you do they'll teach you how to place the weapon, which means to get it set up from the truck. So you'll be driving around, and then they're going to have you place the howitzer. It's nerve-wracking at first, because you don't want to fuck it up. You have to be as quick as physically possible. Because a lot of times, I don't know if they'll do this scenario when you're there, but what happened a lot when the war first kicked off in 2003 is the Marines would, the artillery batteries would be fucking driving along, intending to get to a certain point. They're like, hey, we're at A, and we need to get to B. But halfway to B, fucking calls come in for fire, because there's some infantry relatively close to them that are in the shit and they need help. And so these guys have to fucking stop what they're doing and fucking get these howitzers pointed where they need to go, get them in place, get them dug in, and get rounds downrange to help save those grunts. And they have to do it as fast as physically possible, because when you're getting shot at and the enemy's trying to kill you, every second counts. And you fucking slacking and being lazy could very well mean the difference between those Marines downrange living and those Marines downrange dying. And so you'll train for a lot of that, especially once you get out to the fleet, especially if you get stationed in 29 Palms. There's just a lot of room to train, and that's one of the scenarios they practice is being able to in place quickly and efficiently. And then they'll also teach you how to displace, because the thing with artillery is the enemy hates artillery. They do. If you go against a fucking, like an actual nation's army, they're going to have what they call counter battery firing. Counter battery fires, whatever. And what that is when you shoot, they're going to have radar that can tell more or less where those rounds came from. And so you guys may get 2 or 3 rounds out, then you need to pick your shit up and be gone within minutes. Literally 2 to 3 minutes you need to be gone, because if not, they're going to point their howitzers at you and they're going to fire, and if you're still there, you're dead. The enemy rounds will hit you and they will kill you. So being able to in place and displace quickly is a very, very important skill. And when you're doing it in Fort Sill, you're going to be nervous. You're gonna fucking lose your mind because you know what to do, but you just get fucking, the section chiefs yelling. Everybody's running around like fucking chickens with their heads cut off. It's rather amusing, actually. But if you pay attention and you focus on what they're teaching you, you'll do just fine. When you get into the fleet, if you go to 29 Palms, I can't speak for the other bases, but if you go to 29 Palms, you are going to spend fucking a shit ton of time in the field. Like, I literally, my first year in the fleet, I spent, is about 270, I believe, days in the field. Out of 365 days. I spent 270 out there, sleeping in my sleeping bag, sleeping in the dirt, fucking shooting our howitzers. And that's just what artillery does. You need to keep those skills up. And so if you're on 29 Palms, you're going to be shooting a lot. A lot. I mean, there's no way around it. We would literally go out for 2-3 weeks at a time, come back for 1 day, and then go back out for 2 or 3 weeks at a time again. So if you have family, it makes it rough. I mean, you need to make sure your wife is an awesome woman to be able to deal with that, especially if you have kids. But I mean, it's rough and it's tiring. But you get very, very good at what you're doing. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When you're going to get in place, you're going to move a lot. Some shoots you're going to pick up and you're going to move fucking 12 times a day, which is exhausting. Other shoots you're going to get in, they call them TACP shoots, which I believe stands for Tactical Air Control Party, if I remember right. Which basically means you're shooting for the air. So you shoot generally illumination rounds and have them land on the deck to mark a target for the air to hit, which is pretty cool because if you get set up in the right place, you can actually see the planes, the jets and the helicopters and stuff shooting. And like when the Warthogs would shoot their fucking whatever sort of badass little fucking chain guns, whatever the hell have on those things, it's just like and same with some of the helicopters, like the Cobras, when their fucking machine guns go off, it's like a loud, like ripping almost. Like you have to hear it to know what I'm talking about, but it's cool. It really is. You're on those shoots, you're getting placed once and you're going to sit there for a week and not do anything, and that gets really boring. You want to be able to pick up and move. For me, the perfect field op was picking up and moving 2, maybe 3 times a day. Because I felt that you get a lot of practice out of that, but you're also not fucking exhausting the Marines. But there are times when you need to exhaust the Marines, and you need to push them as far as they can possibly go, because that's exactly what's going to happen in a combat situation. You're not going to sit there and fucking dawdle around all day. You're going to be fucking picking up and moving. One, to keep within range of the enemy, because if our guys are pushing them back, obviously the howitzers need to move up to keep up. But at the same time, you don't want to be the target of counter battery fire, because screw that noise. And so I mean, there's a lot to it. And when you get into every position, you're gonna have to dig your crew serve pits, which is each gun, each howitzer section is gonna have a crew serve, whether it's a 50 cal or a Mark 19 or even a 240. You need to dig a fighting position for that weapon, so that, and then in an ideal world, you will have a Marine out there at all times, watching, ready to repel infantry that are advancing upon the gun line, which has happened. And so, I mean, there's a lot to it, and it's tiring, and you're gonna fucking work your ass off. You're gonna be sweating. You're gonna be dirty. You're gonna be just pure exhausted, but it's well worth it. I mean, shooting those howitzers is awesome. Some of the night shoots we did was fucking cool. You get the moon off in the distance. You get the illume rounds, coming down. It's cool. It really is. But I mean, in the end, to really stick with it, it's got to be one of those things you really enjoy, I think, because it is physically demanding work. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm not sure what else I can say about that. I mean, once you get out of the field, you're going to go back to the rear. You'll fill up the trucks with gas, and then you will go and, depending on how early in the day you get back, they'll either A, have you throw all your shit in the bins that you have, and then let you worry about it on Monday, or they may make you clean everything and get it all cleaned up, get the howitzers cleaned up, looking sexy, so that you can get off work, and go on your weekends. So I mean, it really just depends, kind of on when you get back, but yeah, I mean, it's worth it. It's a fun job. I mean, you're literally getting paid to blow shit up, so it's tough to beat that. Yeah, all right, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, hit me up, and I will see you in the next one. Semper Fi.